Whew. Yes, we are live. Hi, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, thank you. Please let me know if you can hear me. This is not my usual place. Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. We are live for Parenting O'Clock. Please let me know if you can hear me. It's another Parenting O'Clock. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. Let me bring you in right away so we start the conversation. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's Parenting O'Clock. Hi, Celia. Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm excited to be here. Can you hear me
Yes.
okay?
Very well, very well.
Good.
Thank you. Okay, this is Parenting O'Clock. It's an arm of Conscious Parenting Academy where we talk about parenting and every conversation that surrounds parenting, because I know parenting it's hard work. For everyone that wants to go on this journey consciously, that wants to give their best to this journey, it's hard work. It's no joke. So this is Parenting O'Clock. It's a forum that's it's out there to be of great support to parents, to every parent out there. And I'm so excited. And if this is your first time of meeting me, I'm Olabisi Ajayi of Conscious Parenting Academy. I'm always here every Thursday, sharing with us, bringing in guests to be of great support to us on our journey of parenting. So I'm so excited and so honored to have you here, Celia. Thank you so much. I know you're one of those I reached out to since last year. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for the honor. Thank you so much. I do not take this
My pleasure.
process. I do not take it for granted. Thank you. And to every parent in here, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you. Yes, I'm so excited for today's conversation around toddlerhood, toddler tantrums. You know, it's an exciting stage where every parent, that's the first stage I know we have struggles with. You know, when we first have our children, the infant stage, we tend to do things for them, we move them ourselves. But when they transition to the toddler stage, that's where we begin to have struggles because they want to do things on their own. That's where the children want to explore. They want to climb tiers. They want to see what works and what doesn't work. But because as parents, we are not prepared for the journey, because as human, we want to control things ourselves. We begin to have struggles. Because I know that was where my struggle started before I had to start searching for knowledge. And I will tell you, I'm raising a toddler now. That's my third son. And I would say raising a child with knowledge will save you a lot of stress. So, because a child will always behave like a child. So it is my responsibility to remain the adult and put things in right perspective. Let me tell you, this is what works. This is what doesn't work. So I can say that yes, parenting with knowledge, it will save us a lot of stress. So I'm so excited to have you here, Celia, and to all parents that are here. Thank you so much for joining. So please get your notepad, get your pen. I'm here with mine as well. So let's dive into this conversation. And please, if you have any question, please drop it in the comment section or in the question box if you're not comfortable putting it on the comment section. So Celia, I'll be giving you, because I don't want to take much of our time. I know we are parents, so we're always on the run and this social media space. So I sincerely appreciate everyone in here. Thank you, parent. Thank you, our conscious parent family. Thank you. So I'll be giving you some minutes to introduce yourself. Yes, this is Celia. She's a grandmom. When it comes to toddlers, she's the expert.
Thank you.
You know, I've listened to you several times, and I know this is some of what you've taught us. I've put them into practice, and I've seen it work several
Good.
times. So I'm so I'm so excited to have you here.
And
So I'll
that's
be
the
giving
key,
you,
putting it into practice.
yes, putting it to
That's the
practice. That's
key.
what works.
Taking
That's what
action.
works. Yeah, so I'm so excited to have you. So I'll be giving you some minutes, like 30 minutes to share with us. I know it's not enough minutes to share conversations around tantrums and how to get them to listen. So I'll give you some minutes to share with us how do we need to handle this? Because it's normal for them. It's part of their growth. So
Right.
they will surely throw tantrums.
Exactly.
They will throw tantrums. Yes. So we need to, and that's the stage I think I've seen that's the stage they learn so well. That's the stage they tend to internalize your values, how you communicate with them, because that's when they will learn to be aggressive as well. Because when they see that you oftentimes react to them, you're not communicating calmly, they will learn it. And when they start giving that back to us, because whatever you show them, whatever you model to them, they will give back to you, whether you like it or not.
That's right.
And that was one of the things that made me search for knowledge. Because my first son, I realized that he was more reserved, so he was kind of withdrawing. Then the second son was trying to be aggressive. He wants to fight it. So I knew I needed knowledge. So, and I would say so far, knowledge has really helped with God's help. So I'm so excited. So please, I'll be giving you some minutes to share with us. How can we handle toddlers tantrums, and how do we get them to listen without having to yell? Please get your questions down. Let's dive into this amazing conversation. So over to you, Celia. Thank you.
Okay. So, well, thank you for having me here, and welcome parents and everyone that's listening. I appreciate it.
Yes.
And a little about me, so you know who I am. I'm Celia Kibler, and I'm a family and relationship empowerment coach and award-winning author of Raising Happy Toddlers, How to Build Great Parenting Skills and Stop Yelling at Your Kids. Whoa. It's available in English and Spanish.
Whoa.
That's not Spanish. That's English and English. English and Spanish. And it's written like a manual. So, you know, parents always go, I wish I had a manual to raise my children. So I wrote one. So you should get it. You should put it on your shelves, and you can get my book at celiasbooks.com. I have, like you had mentioned, I am a mommy of 5 kids. 2 I gave birth to, 3 I gained through marriage. I've been a real life parent for over 41 years, and I've been successfully parenting a blended family for over 29 years. And I have 9 wonderful grandchildren, one of which is having their 16th birthday today. So kind of hard to believe, yes. And I am the founder of Fun Fit Family Fitness, the founder of Pumped Up Parenting, and the founder of the Day of Calm Foundation and the International Day of Calm on April 5th. So we only have a half hour, so let's get by. Oh, retype Celia's book, Celias.
Celia. Okay, Celia's. Okay. Okay.
Celias.com.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where you get my books.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so let's dive into tantrums, because it's probably the leading cause of frustration in parents.
Parenting.
I mean, every toddler's going to have them, and every parent's going to have to deal with it.
Sure.
And here's to your wisdom of knowing you had to know more, because that's the thing. If you learn more about what you're struggling with, you can be proactive on resolving it.
Yes.
And tantrums absolutely can be resolved. Don't think, oh, well, everybody has tantrums. And because everybody has tantrums, all kids have tantrums. It's just a way of life. Yes, they have a tantrum, and I'll explain why they initially have them, but they don't have to last forever. It is what you as the parent are doing that is creating the necessity for your child to keep having tantrums. And so we put the responsibility on you, because you are the adult. You are the person with the fully developed brain. Our human brains do not fully develop till we're 25 years old. So if you have a 2-year-old, they have 23 more years to a fully developed brain. That's a long time. So why do toddlers have tantrums? Why do tantrums happen? Tantrums happen because we are born with a slew of emotions. We are not born with how to understand our emotions, regulate our emotions, or know what to do with reasoning or any kind of rationalization. We can't do it. It's not in our brains. It's not that your child doesn't get it. He doesn't not get it. It's not there. There is nothing in the brain that helps him with logic, reasoning, emotional regulation. All of that is taught. So when a child gets upset, or a child gets mad or angry or disappointed, or you say no for whatever reason, their subconscious brain, that is the part of our brain that we cannot control, spits out a reaction. That reaction could be a tantrum, it could be biting, it could be hitting, it could be kicking, it could be throwing, it could be screaming, it could be any of those things. It is an auto response to that emotion, and that's what you need to understand. At the beginning, they don't realize what they're doing. Their brain is just automatically reacting that way. So now you're thinking, okay, so they're automatically biting me or yelling at me or screaming or freaking out. What am I supposed to do? If that just automatically happens, what do I do? So here's an important thing to remember, parents. When a child has a tantrum, their first tantrum is automatic. Their second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th tantrum, the ones they continue to have over and over and over again, are happening for one reason and one reason only. And that reason is because they work. Your child has a tantrum and you say, no, honey, you can't have that right now. And they scream. And you go, okay, stop screaming. Here, take it. You just confirmed with them that in order to get their way, they scream and yell. They scream and yell. You give them their way. Worked great. It worked great that time. It'll work great again and again. So your best response is no response, but we're going to get into responses as we go. Now, why do tantrums last long times? Why do they keep going and going and going? Because if for some reason your child knows that if they keep crying and they keep calling you, and they keep crying, they keep freaking out, eventually you're going to give in. That will make those tantrums last a long time. So if you have a tantrum, your child has a tantrum, and at first you're like, no, I'm not going to give in. I'm not giving in. Celia said, don't give in. I'm not giving in. I'm just going to hold strong. And they keep crying and crying. And then you're like, okay, I can't stand it anymore. Here, take it. Now they know that if they can outlast you, they will get their way. So the tantrum goes on and on. Now, some parents, one of my clients asked me not too long ago, they said, well, what I do is when they have a tantrum, I'll say, okay, now if you calm down, I will give it to you. Here's the problem with that is that you are now teaching them that if they throw a tantrum, and then that's me. See, I see someone say that's me. Listen, if your child's throwing a tantrum and they know, okay, I'm going to throw a tantrum, then mommy's going to tell me to calm down. Then I calm down. Then I get my way.
I have what I want.
Right. Still working for me. Still going strong. I'm getting my way every time I throw that tantrum. So you cannot give into the tantrum. I can't say that enough. Do not give into the tantrum, but there are many things you can do. And let me tell you, parents, it's not going to be easy. If you're busy giving in now, changing that pattern is not going to be easy, because what I just described is going to happen. If your child knows that you're going to give into a tantrum, they keep screaming and screaming and screaming because they know eventually you're giving in. That initial tantrum, and probably the few of the tantrums after, will last a long time because your child is waiting for you to give in. Don't do it. Don't do it, parents. I'm telling you. Don't do it. Woo. Do not give into that child. The only way to stop them and lower the length of time that a tantrum lasts is for you not to give in. Okay, So everybody know that? Give us an emoji or something. If you're all like on board, we're not giving into these tantrums. Like say me, say whatever. Give us some feedback that you promise not to give in. That is step one. We're going to teach you. Okay. So step one is no giving in. Not even if they calm down. You're not giving in, period. Okay. Don't give in. Good. All right. I see some yeses, some hearts. Good. You're all on board. Now, I know the next question in your mind is, well, what do I do? What do I do when they're screaming and yelling and having a cow? What do I do? I'm not going to give in, but how will I bring this under control? So the first thing you need to remember is that it's going to take a little bit of time, but the good news is not a lot of time. So if your child's in the habit of throwing tantrums, you stop giving in, those tantrums will gradually go away. Every client I work with has kids that throw tantrums multiple times a day, 5, 6, 7, or more. By the time we're done working together, that child is having a tantrum maybe once a month, once every few weeks. That's it.
It works.
Because the tantrum is not doing anything that they wanted to do. It is not accomplishing anything. My son does that to me a lot, and then I give up. Yeah, don't give it. Hi, Anupam. Don't give in. Don't do it. I know it's tempting. I know we've had a long day. I know we're tired. I get it. I've raised 5 kids. I get it. Don't do it. Don't put on here. Look, just grab some earplugs. Put these on. Play music. Do something. Don't give it. Okay. Don't do it. All right. So now we got to dive into this deeper because I want you guys to really get these tantrums under control. Because why? They make us crazy. Yes or yes? Yes. So let's get them under control. So the first rule of thumb is don't give in. That's probably the first, second, third, fourth, eighth rule of thumb. Don't give in. You get that point. Okay. What can you do? Now, many parents think that love spoils a child. You'll hear from relatives, oh, don't pick them up. Don't hug them. Don't cuddle them. Don't do this. Don't do that. You're going to spoil them. Parents, the only thing that spoils a child is giving them everything they want when they want it at that moment. That's what spoils a child. So if you are giving in to your child's tantrums, that is spoiling your child. You will create a very moody, demanding child. They will want what they want when they want it, and they will do whatever they can do to get it. Is that what you want? No. I'm pretty sure that is not what you want. Yeah. If I ask you, and let's put in the comments for a minute. If you're listening, or even if you're rewatching, whatever, tell me some descriptions of what kind of adult you would like your child to be. What would you like? Do you want your child to be kind? Do you want them to be honest? Do you want them to be compassionate? Do you want them to be helpful? Do you want them to be thoughtful? Do you want them to be respectful? These are things that usually a parent wants, and feel free to put them in the comments so we can all share together. Parents want this from their children. What do they not want? They don't want a child who is aggressive. They don't want a child, responsible, independent adult. Yes. We don't want a child who is dependent on us for everything. We want them to be self-sufficient. We don't want a child who is all about getting their way for the rest of their life. We don't want a child who thinks everything in life will go their way, and they'll get ridiculously upset and out of control if it doesn't go their way. We want a child that understands that disappointment is okay. Things sometimes don't go our way, and that's okay. And that gives us an opportunity to realize that maybe we need a better plan. Maybe we need a different path. This didn't go our way. We didn't get the outcome we wanted. So what can we do to reevaluate and find a different outcome? If you're always working to make your child happy, and believe me, I have 5 kids. We all want our kids to be happy. But if your goal is your child always has to be happy, or maybe your partner's goal, maybe the other parent's goal is my child always has to be happy. I can't let them cry. It breaks my heart when they cry. If your goal is to always keep them happy as a child, you are going to raise a very unhappy adult. So I'm going to say that again. If your goal as a parent right now is to always make your child happy, to make sure that things go their way, you're on track to raise a very unhappy adult. We are adults here. We don't have little toddlers in this group. We're all adults. How many times in your life have things not gone your way?
Several times.
Several times.
Yeah.
It all happens. I mean, hopefully your life is going the way you want, but there are a lot of disappointments.
Sure.
And we don't allow our children to realize what disappointment is like and understand their disappointment muscle and their waiting muscle. They don't get things the second they want them. If we don't give them the opportunity to learn that, they will be very dysfunctional grown-ups. We are raising adults, not children. They're already children. Our job is to teach them to be the adult we want them to be. If you want your child to be kind, be a kind parent. If you want your child to be respectful, be a respectful parent. If you want your child to be calm, be a calm parent. Now, let me give you another eye opener. Who here has difficulty yelling at their kids? They tend to scream and yell at their kids. Face the truth. Everybody feels this way. Just go ahead. Let us know. Do you yell at your kids? Do you lose control? Do you hit your kids? If any of those factors happen, that you feel like Cutie says yes. If you feel like you lose control when you get so frustrated and overwhelmed by your children not listening or not cooperating, if you start screaming, yelling, hitting, any of that, guess what, parents? You are throwing a tantrum.
Whoa.
Just the same tantrum that you don't want your child to do. The only difference between a toddler tantrum and an adult tantrum is the ability to understand language. That is the only difference. A tantrum is the loss of control over your emotions. The difference in an adult tantrum is they use words. They scream, they yell, they cuss, they call names, they do all kinds of aggressive, negative behaviors. Child throws a tantrum, they're crying and screaming because they don't have the grasp of the language that you have, whatever that language is. It's the same behavior. So if you're getting disappointed at your children, you come home from work, you've had a long day, your kids are fighting, the first thing you do is go in that room and start fighting too. You start yelling at them. What are you doing? Go in separate rooms. I'm so sick of this. And you rant and rave. Why are you guys so stupid? Why aren't you listening? Why are you an idiot? Why are you this? Why are you lazy? Why are you a liar? Why? If those things that's happening in your home, you are no different than that toddler throwing a tantrum. So a key part of this is to realize your own responsibility as a role model to your children. You have to role model emotional intelligence. You have to understand for you, okay, so if things don't go my way, screaming and yelling about it is not a productive solution.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm disappointed in my child, it is up to me as the adult to analyze what's going on. Why is this communication a problem? Why are they throwing a tantrum? Is it simply because I said no and they didn't get their way? Well, is that the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. You know what? That upset you? Cry. Because you know what happens is after they cry, you get an opportunity to talk about it. Honey, I know you were disappointed that you couldn't have a candy bar before dinner. But you know what? Dinner is getting put on the table right now, and I know you're hungry, so let's sit down and eat. Candy bars are filled with sugar, not a good option for dinner. So maybe what we can do is Saturday, I plan on going over to the park. And you know what I'll do for you? I'll bring you a special piece of candy that you can have when you play in the park. Now, I'm not encouraging giving candy to kids, but we all give candy to kids. So don't overdo it. But that's a way that you can explain to a child when they're disappointed. Sometimes in the food store, they walk in the food store and they see candy and then they want it.
Mm-hmm. They want it.
You're not there to buy candy. You're there to buy food. So get them interested in other things. You can play a game of colors. You can let them go into the produce area and pick a color. So give me a color, honey. I like red. Okay. Find all the fruit and vegetables that are red and pick one out that we can take home and try. There's all kinds of different games and fun you can distract a child with. If you're in a store and you're buying a toy for a friend and they want one too, don't buy them a toy. They're going to think every time they go into a store, they get a toy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole expense. You're going to be paying a car payment for toys. They don't need something every time they walk into a store. Another option that I do with my grandson is if he sees something he likes, I take a picture. And I go, okay, now I'm putting it on your gift list for the holidays, for your birthday. This is something you want. And everybody asks. And one time it's such a successful thing that one time Brooks asked me if we could go to Target, which he never wants to go shopping. His sister loves to go shopping. And I said, why do you want to go to Target? And he said, so I can take pictures of the things I want. I'm like, whoa, my job here is done. Complete. Yeah. He wants to actually go to a store and take pictures. Picture all the way. No tantrum, no nothing. And it makes them feel like the difference is when they're upset that they can't get a toy, but you tell them you can take a picture, you now acknowledge their opinion. You are valuing their thoughts. So your child is feeling valued. They're feeling important. You're not just saying no. Yes. No, I don't care what you want. I don't care what you're doing. It's time to take a bath. Your children need to know that you respect them, just like they need to know to respect you. Respect is a two-way street. If you are being bossy and demanding and controlling over your children every step of the way, that's what you're teaching them to do, to be bossy, controlling, and demanding. How many parents here, if I said, do you want your child to do what you do? Wait, let me word this again. Do you want your child to do what you're asking them to do the second you ask them to do it? Tell me yes, if you want that. So the second you ask your child, you say, time for a bath, let's go. Whatever they're doing. And you're like, okay, it's time for a bath, let's go. And you expect them to get up and go. Is that what you're doing? Yes. Yes. Here comes the yeses. Okay, so consider this. You're on the telephone, you're talking, you're an important call, or doesn't matter if you're an important call, you're talking to someone that's important. Your child comes over to you and goes, mommy, 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 mommy. You're like, I'm on the phone. When I'm off the phone, I will come help you. Recognize that is the exact same behavior that you do when you walk over to your child and you say, stop what you're doing.
Let's go.
You need to come take a bath. Stop what you're doing. You are disregarding what they're doing for something that you want done. That's what they do. They're disregarding something you're doing for something they want. You are teaching them disrespect. And now you're thinking, well, I'm the parent and I know this is time to do something. Got it. I get it. And he's just playing with cars. Well, to a parent, just playing with cars is not important. But to a 2 or 3 year old, playing with cars is very important.
Yes.
I am lining these babies up. I got the red card and the yellow card and the green card and the blue card. I need a purple car. I need a truck. I need it to be in a perfect line. This is what I need. It's very important. This dinosaur needs to be on top of this dinosaur. This one needs to be yelling from the mountaintop. And it's all very important. And it's creative and it's imaginative. Okay, here's your gold. Here's your little gold point for this lesson, for this training. I want you to do this the next time. Write it down because people do this wrong all the time. Walk over to your child and say, honey, I see you're playing, whatever they're doing. I see you're working. I see you're walking. I see you're running. I see you're jumping, whatever they're doing. I see you're playing. It's almost time for a bath. Would you like 1 or 2 more minutes to play? Now you are showing them respect for what they're doing. Number 1, that's the first thing this does. Then they go, okay, they say 2 minutes. They may say 1 minute, whatever they say. Don't argue, say, well, 2 minutes is more. They say 1 minute, go with the 1 minute. Whatever they say, then say, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. When the timer goes off, what are you going to do? I'm going to take a bath. Perfect. Then set the timer, tell them it's set, and leave the timer there. If it's on your phone, don't walk away with the timer because you want them to take responsibility. They have now made a choice. They need to take responsibility for that choice. You are raising a person of integrity. They say they're going to do something and they do it. So they need to hear that alarm so that they can register, oh, alarm went off. I told mommy I would take, or daddy, I would take a bath. Now I'm going to put down my toys and take a bath. They will do it. This is the single best technique where most parents say to me, oh my gosh, that was like magic. That was like magic. I did that and it was like magic. And it's not that it's magic. It's that it is respectful. And you are teaching through that one little 3-step choice. You are teaching them integrity. You are teaching them responsibility. You are teaching them respect. You are sending them an indirect message that you have confidence in them and that you believe in them. All of those 5 things come from giving them that time choice to transition from one activity to the next. And those choice of times are yours. Those are your choices. You know, they could be, you could not need them for a half hour. You could say, okay, honey, you have 10 or 15 minutes. You have 6 or 8. And are kids too old for this? No. You can walk up to your 10-year-old and do it. Honey, I see you're busy. Dinner's almost ready. Do you need 5 or 10 more minutes? 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to set the alarm. What are you going to do? Come down in 10 minutes. Here's the alarm. Little kids, you can say 30 seconds or 1 minute if you want it to be quick, because 30 sounds like a whole lot more than 1. So that child psychology comes into it. But so that is a great way to transition behaviors, because often we want them to do what we want them to do when we want to do them. Then you get mad, they get mad, everybody's mad, irritability comes up, and everyone's yelling and screaming at each other. So learning strategies and putting a system in place in your home is not just going to help with you not yelling as much, with them not throwing as many tantrums, but it is going to actually alleviate the reason to yell and the reason to have tantrums. So you need to be proactive and not reactive. That's what happens if you're reactive, if you can't control your own emotions. Keep in mind, there are 4 triggers for adults and children that cause us to be irritable. And when we're irritable, what happens? We throw a tantrum, right? Yes. So we want to avoid irritability. So you want to make sure you're sleeping well and your child sleeps well. You want to make sure you're eating healthy foods and eating regularly. So don't go decide to do something, go shopping when they're supposed to be eating. Feed them first. Don't plan something with the family when your child should be sleeping. Don't take them out at 10 o'clock at night. They should be in bed sleeping. Thirst is a big trigger, because when we dehydrate, the first thing to go is our brain. Our brain is filled with water. So when we dehydrate, we get irritable. All those reactions of too much heat, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, all of that comes from not getting enough water. And water's all they need. Have a cup of water. I mean, it doesn't have to be this big, but have a cup of water wherever they're playing. Put a sippy cup there, a bottle, whatever you're using, and I'll drink some water.
That's cool.
Now that I'm thinking about it, where they're playing, so they don't even have to ask you. There is a question. Can you see that? How do I, if you can read it, I'll let you read it.
All right. How do I handle a 2-year-old with the timing? After setting a 5-minute extra for my son to play, he refused and then screams. Please, how do I handle this situation?
Because, let me see if I can read this. After setting 5 minutes extra, because I'm guessing what you're doing, and I'm assuming, because obviously I can only read so much from your comment, that you are offering 5 more minutes to play. That you're saying, we do this all the time. Okay, you got 1 more minute, you got 5 more minutes. Okay, 4, 3, 2, like countdown, blast off. You are not offering a choice.
Okay.
You are telling. If you are starting your sentence with, I tell my child, and I'm not saying you did this, I tell my child he has 3 more minutes to play and then it's time for a bath. That is telling. You are not empowering them through choice. You are not giving the ability to take responsibility for their choice. You are not sending a message that you depend on, that you believe in them. You're just telling them more things. That's what kids get sick of with parents, is we tell them what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Tell. They never get a little control over their life. A choice is a little control they get over their life. Keeping in mind, negotiable things can offer a choice. Non-negotiable things don't offer a choice. If something is non-negotiable, especially for their safety, there's no choice. I had a parent ask me, okay, so when my 2-year-old goes into a parking lot, he gets really mad and he throws a tantrum if I hold his hand. He wants to just run. There's no choice there. He's 2 in a parking lot. So your worry is he going to cry or die? Is that the choice? That's not a choice. Let him cry. Who cares if he cries? Don't set your life around your child having a tantrum. If they know that their tantrums is controlling the game at home, they'll have tantrums whenever they don't want to do anything, because they know you're not going to go somewhere if they don't want to do it, if they're throwing a tantrum. And they're going to learn as they grow that, guess what? Mom and dad are afraid of our tantrums and my tantrum. So they actually aren't even doing things because they're so worried I'm going to have a tantrum. Control the tantrum. Don't let the tantrum control you. And I think you said that in the title of something like that, like how to work your life around tantrums. Don't let tantrums control your life. Do what you want to do when you want to do it. Talk to your kids. Have open conversation. Ask them. It's a great thing to ask kids ideas. They have great ideas. They're very smart, very smart. And they're very, very practical. If something goes on or you're not sure what to do that day, or maybe you got home and it's been a long day and you want to rest and they want to go run around, you can say to them, honey, you're so welcome. You can say to them, honey, I'd really like to rest right now. I'm tired. I've had a long day. You don't have to put it on them. You need a rest. Don't tell them what they need. Tell them, create what they should have. So you can say, I'm tired. I need a rest. Let's lay down. But before we lay down, let's pick out a game that we can play when we get up. Can you go pick something out and we'll play that when we get up? But right now, let's lay down and rest for 15 minutes. You can lay with me, and then cuddle for 15 minutes and go play the game they picked out. Play with them. Be involved in their life. Am I talking too long?
No, not at all. We're having a great time. Yes, we're having a great time here.
Should I go on?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Great time. Yes.
Let me touch on one more thing before we run out of time. And that is distracting a child's tantrums. So if a tantrum happens, you can distract them. So think about the brain for a moment. Let's get into the brain. The brain is having the tantrum, right? And go on, please. Yes, please. Okay, so I'll keep going.
Yeah, we're having
I'm hoping this is helping you. Is this helping you? Let me.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So the brain's throwing a tantrum. Think about any time where you've been really upset about something or you've been kind of obsessive about something. You can't stop it. It's like your brain now has control over you, Well, when a child has a tantrum, they're in tantrum mode. They are just in this mode. You talking to them, don't talk into the tantrum. So don't say things like, honey, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. You need to relax. You need to calm down. In all of the history of calming down, has anyone ever calmed down by being told to calm down?
At all.
No.
No.
No one calms down when you tell them to calm down. So don't do that with your children. Okay? Don't even talk. Then don't you also get angry and start yelling at them for having a tantrum. All that does is escalate the entire thing, because now in that little kid's brain, they are having sensory overload. Did you ever go into a really noisy place and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with it? You're having sensory overload. If you are talking into a tantrum, they are having sensory overload. So you're only going to escalate the tantrum. It is much better to ride it out, go do something, let them lay on the floor, have their tantrum, whatever's happening, as long as they're safe, let them do it. You go on with your life. But you can distract them. So you can put on music and start dancing. Don't invite them over, because if you invite them over, you're talking into their tantrum. So don't be like, honey, come play with me, I'm dancing. Don't. Their brain will see you having fun. They'll hear that music. They'll hear the fun. They'll look over, and that will switch off the tantrum faster without you having to give in. Or I always recommend people buy balloons. So buy good balloons, not cheap balloons, good balloons, underinflate them. Do not overinflate them. That's why they pop. Underinflate them so that your toddler can squeeze them without popping. They're having a tantrum. If you keep 6 balloons in your closet and they're underinflated, they stay for a pretty long time. If they're having a tantrum and it seems to be going on, it's not like a 2-minute tantrum, it seems to go on and on. Get those balloons, throw them around, and you start playing with them. I guarantee you that tantrum will end, and they will start playing with the balloons, and you will not have to give in. So you can distract them from a tantrum, but whatever you're doing, whether it's fun, whatever way you're distracting them, remember not to invite them over. Once they feel like they have been neglected and accept this as a norm. No, they won't feel neglected unless you're neglecting them. Just because you're ignoring an outburst, you are teaching them that that is not a proper response to disappointment. You are not giving in to that tantrum. Now, if they have a long tantrum, there's no reason, if you want to hold them, cuddle them, snuggle them, kiss them, you can do all that and help them relax from a tantrum. That's fine. Don't do it if they're having a tantrum because you couldn't pick them up at the moment because you're in the middle of cooking dinner and the pan's hot, and then you go pick them up. That gives into the tantrum. So you have to remember, you don't want to give into the tantrum. But if you feel like ignoring the tantrum is mean, tell me what you think of giving your child permission to act that way every time they're disappointed. Because that's what you're doing by giving into that tantrum. You are giving them permission to have tantrums whenever things don't go their way. That is mean. That is mean. Because now you're raising a child that does not have emotional intelligence. All the adults that throw tantrums when things don't go their way, guess what they never learned? They never learned how to handle disappointment. And this is a big generalization, but people who are on drugs and drink alcohol and abuse different substances, guess what they never learned? How to handle disappointment. I mean, that's a very general statement for them being addicted, but in general, they don't know how to handle life. They never learned. It is our job as parents to, once the tantrum has calmed down, like I said before, then that's when you sit with your child and say, I understand you were disappointed. I understand you were mad, whatever it was that led up to the tantrum. Understand why they're feeling that way, and then help them learn new ways of dealing with a tantrum. Okay? So ignoring that tantrum is not ignoring the child, it's ignoring that behavior so they learn more positive behaviors of how to react. Naming the feeling of disappointment is so important. Yes, it is. Hi, Miss Kingsley. How are you? Hi, Alicia. All these wonderful people that have joined. So ignoring the tantrum is ignoring that behavior. Okay? You're not ignoring your child. It's like if people think that children are bad. Children are not bad. They're kind of awesome, personally, if you ask me. But sometimes in life, we make not so great choices. And the child has to learn to make better choices, more productive choices. That's why you need good consequences and not punishment. That's for a whole nother topic of discussion. And that's when you can just buy my book and learn all about it. But that's why when you punish a child doesn't teach them to make good choices. It just makes them angry and makes them afraid of you. If you're screaming and yelling, it makes a child angry and afraid. It doesn't make them respect you. Who's the last person you respected that screamed, yelled, and hit you? No one, right? Because it's not respectful. Parents will say and have said to me, well, you've got to admit, sometimes there's an appropriate time to hit a child. To which my reply is, okay, if there's an appropriate time to hit a child, when is it appropriate for me to hit you? Tell me, when is that appropriate? When is it appropriate for a spouse to hit a spouse? A teacher to hit a student? A friend to hit a friend? An employee to hit an employer, or vice versa? It's never appropriate. And you're hitting a child that has an underdeveloped brain and doesn't have the skills and abilities that you hopefully have. It is never appropriate to hit. And if you hit a child, you give them permission to hit. So many parents, their child will hit and then they spank them for hitting. That is illogical. You want them to stop hitting and you just hit them.
Okay.
Everything you do, remember this, parents, if you don't remember anything else, everything you do, good or not so good, you give your child permission to do. You don't just model it, you literally give them permission. If you're screaming and yelling, you give them permission to scream and yell. If you're hitting, you give them permission to hit. If you're throwing a tantrum, you give them permission to throw a tantrum. If you're calm and you're respectful and you are willing to talk about things, you give them permission to do the same. If you make a mistake and you say, honey, I'm really sorry. I had a bad day. I should not have acted that way. Let's start over. I apologize. You give them permission to apologize when they do something unintentional. We all make mistakes. We're all human. Help your child understand that. Everything your child does.
Thank you so
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much, Celia. I already know my note is full. I knew I was coming for something tangible today. Thank you so much. Like I made a post this morning talking about that the toddlerhood is a stage where children learn a lot, because that is when they learn what works for you. That is when they learn your values. That is when they learn how to communicate effectively. It's normal. Maybe there's a way we think as parents that maybe there's a way we paint being angry as it's not acceptable. But I've realized that being hungry is also an emotion. So we want to be angry, but we don't want our children to be hungry. They are human, so obviously they will have times they're not pleased with things. They will have, and that's why even the scripture made us know that the foolishness abounds in the heart of a child. That's what makes them a child, because
exactly.
they will do things that doesn't make sense to you as an adult, because your brain is fully developed, but theirs is not fully developed. So when they are making some choices, it is our responsibility as parents to redirect them to what is right. And when we, like what you said, when they are throwing tantrums and we decide to respond in an aggressive way, we are as well as parents throwing tantrums. So that's what makes it keeps continuing. We just keep saying the same thing over and over again, and we get tired. We resort to eating them. Then they keep learning the same thing. And the one thing I found out on this journey is whatever you do to them, like you said, we've given them the ability to do it to, especially their siblings and to those around them. And when we have bullies in school, they learned it from somewhere, because I've come to know that children are not born bullies. It's whatever we have modeled to them, whatever we have shown to them, that is what they will do, because that is what they've learned. Like just like baby's brain, they're trying to absorb a lot of things from their environment. So whatever they have seen us do, that is what they're going to do back to their mates in school, even to us as the parents. And like what you said, I love when you talked about who do we want to raise? What is our goal as parents? Do we want to raise a respectful adult? So that means we should, as parents, show them how to be responsible in the way we do things. We should show them how to be respectful in the way we talk to them. As parents, we tend to see ourselves as the parents. We can do anything to them. So when they start doing that back to us or to those around them, we see them as, oh, this is not nice. But knowing that is what we have modeled to them. So thank you so much, Celia,
exactly.
to this.
I see a question here. Do you want me to answer it?
Yes.
Oh, it's from Melissa. Tantrums are developmentally appropriate, though. So how do you tell the difference between acting out and emotional release?
Okay.
Tantrums are developmentally appropriate, but what many parents don't realize, and what my point is that your child needs to learn different ways to respond. Because although it's appropriate to throw a tantrum because your child knows no other way to react to disappointment, the more you're consistent about the way you help them deal with disappointment, and you teach them new ways to react, and you don't give into a tantrum, the more you recognize that and teach your child, the less tantrums they are. They are developmentally appropriate because a child hasn't learned another way. We all, and being human, we all have good days and bad days. Is your child never going to throw a tantrum? No.
Possible.
We all have good days and
Sure.
bad days. We have them, your child has them, which is when, things just are, they're tired, they're sick, one of their triggers, they're overwhelmed, they're hungry, they're sleepy. That's going to create irritability and may result in a tantrum. That's okay. What's not okay is if your child is throwing a tantrum 5, 6, even 3 times a day. That is not okay, because that indicates that your child has not learned another way of how to deal with disappointment. And you are not offering them opportunities to take some control over their life, to have some responsibility. You are lacking in some of the ways that you can create and encourage cooperation instead of fight it every step of the way.
That's what we do. That's what parents do most times. We want to fight it. We want to just stop it. It's not possible. Yep. And they want to keep doing that as well. So that's why we have the conflicts we have oftentimes, because we want to stop them. We just want them to stop. But that's part of being a toddler. They will throw tantrums. Thank you so much.
They don't know better. They're going to test limits. They don't know better. It's your job to help them and teach them and understand what's triggering the tantrum. Understand, is there something that happened? Is it merely that they're hungry? Is it merely that they're sleepy? They didn't sleep well. You didn't sleep well. What is it? Examine it.
Yeah. And I love the part you said, you give them some minutes ahead. I do that a lot, especially when they are coming from school. They still want to have some time after school. So we would have agreed on the minutes we want to spend. So when it's getting close, I will tell them we have 5 more minutes. We saw that saves a lot of stress. That has really helped me a lot. When I started my journey with a lot of mistakes. Like, you just want to pick up a child and just tell them you need to transition from this to another thing a lot. They will fight it, because that's why children. So I think we've learned a lot tonight. Thank you so much. So is there any final?
Welcome.
You want to? I'm not seeing any question here again. So is there any final word you have for us, Celia, before we end tonight's conversation?
Okay. So
yes, sir. Okay, I usually yell when I correct my boys. My older son now yells to correct his younger ones. How do I undo this?
Okay. Okay, I see it. Sorry, my comments didn't advance. My question's out. I usually yell when I correct my boys. My older son now yells to correct. And I know you understand now that you have taught them that, right? So the wonderful thing is that yelling, if you have the correct strategies and techniques in place, really becomes an unnecessary reaction. But number one, you have to see if you're able to communicate without yelling. So if you go to work and you can talk to people at work and you don't yell, then yes, you are communicating without yelling. But of course, children tend to trigger us in different ways. Usually, if I ask a parent why they yell, they will come back with, well, I yell because I ask my child very nicely. I smile, I use my manners, and I say, will you stop playing this game? And then your child says yes, and you walk out the door. And 5 minutes later, you come back and they're still playing. You're like, honey, I asked you to stop playing. Come on, it's dinner time. Still being kind, no yelling, right? Happens a third time. Fourth time, you come in and you are screaming your head off. Turn that off. Get downstairs. Stop it now. You guys are never going to play again for the rest of your life. The problem is you keep asking over and over and over again. It's not really the yelling, it's you asking. Once you ask, that's it. Ask once and then a consequence results. If they're playing a video game or they're on their phone or the tablet or whatever, and you come in and ask them to put something down, better yet, give them a choice. But if you don't do that, you just ask and they don't do it, guess what? Go in there and turn the game off. Take the console, take the tablet, take the phone. All of those things are very easily portable. Result in a consequence. That's how kids learn that you ask once and they cooperate. But if they know that, well, mom's going to ask us 4 more times, that gives us 20 more minutes to play. So we really don't have to do anything until she starts yelling. You have to train them to do that.
Yeah.
So you have to be proactive. You have to know your own limitations. And if you feel like you're going to approach something with yelling, you take a timeout. You walk away. I use the acronym PEPA. Pause, evaluate, plan, act. If you can think of Peppa, not the pig, in your head, you've already paused. Look at what's going on. What is your best reaction to it? I'll tell you, yelling is not your best reaction because that solves nothing, makes things worse. Look at it. What is my best plan? Then go in there and be productive and be constructive and parent your children in a positive way. I hope that helped.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, your final word for us before we end this, because I know it's 1 hour already. Do you have any final word for us?
Our final word, I do have a final word.
Yeah.
So my final word is positivity. What do I mean by that? I mean, be the parent that recognizes the good your children are doing, not the parent that only reacts to the negative. The example is your kids are fighting, they're yelling at each other, but before they started fighting, they were playing really nice for 20 minutes. You were able to get off the phone in time. All of that happened. Then they started fighting. And what happened? You put down the phone then and went in there and yelled at them. When they're only fighting because they're sick of each other, number one. Number two, you should have gone in there while they're being calm and say, hey, guys, I'm almost off the phone. Thank you so much for playing so nicely together. After I'm off this phone, let's go do something. And not say anything about an argument if it happened, because you want to show the attention to them
Positive
doing good behaviors. Children want to make them proud. They want to make you proud of them. So when they know they're making you proud, they're going to reach for that behavior much more than a negative one.
That works. It works so well.
So
when you
do that today,
when you
hang up the phone, when you hang up whatever, when you go away, do that tomorrow. Start complimenting them for all the good effort they're making, not just feed attention to the negative.
Children loves that. They want to do that. They want to do more of what you're praising them for. They love
Right. Exactly. And they want to know that their effort has
it's
been
been
acknowledged and
Mhm.
appreciated.
Yes.
Just like you do with your partner. If you have a partner, you want to know, you don't want to just go, well, they're supposed to do that. You want them to be grateful that you did. Well, their job is to do laundry or their job is to make dinner. Say thank you. I don't care if it's their job, they did. So say thank you to your partners, appreciate them, appreciate your kids.
Thank you so much, Celia. Thank you so much. So this video will be available for replay. So please do well to catch replay. And one of the things on parenting journey that will give us results, that will hand us result, is the doing. So please, even as we're going back to our various after this live session, please let's do well to put to work. That's what makes the difference on the, because I know we've read books, we've listened to different teachings on parenting, but what will make the difference on this journey is the doing. So please let's do the work. Let's do the work. Let's, at times it might look as if it's not working. Just be consistent. Consistency is key. Be consistent with whatever you have found working, and you'll see everything turn around. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't want to
You're
keep you.
so welcome. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Share this out if you got help, and
Mhm.
thank you so much for having me. I was thrilled to be
Thank you
here.
so much. I sincerely appreciate you. Thank you. So every parent in here, thank you so much for joining, and do have an amazing evening. Thank you. You can join us every Thursday. We have Parenting O'Clock on Thursdays, 7 p.m. West African time and 2 p.m. Eastern time. It's always an amazing session, sharing with parents, learning, equipping ourselves with knowledge, because that's all we need on this journey. We need knowledge to train these children to raise them awesomely. So thank you so much. Have an amazing night rest, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Celia. Good night.